T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Shout out to Kopish.
Shout out to Kopish, guys.
All the good work
the
up.
two legends, Emil Heskey, Howard Gill. Can't get much better than that guy. Yeah. You know what to do now. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm with legends, guys. Good evening, lovely people. Hope you're well and welcome back to another live match preview. As always, when we get behind the mic, please make sure you subscribe, comment, and like. It's the big one, people. Now, I'll be honest. Going into most games, I favour Liverpool. But if there's one game that comes up on the calendar that I look at and I think to myself, I wouldn't mind that game getting cancelled, it's this one. We ain't won here for a while. In my opinion, along with our ground, Anfield, it's the hardest ground to go to in the Premier League to try and get a result. And you've seen it over the years. We've been to Stamford Bridge, got results. We've been to the Emirates, got results. We've gone to Old Trafford, got results. We've gone to Spurs Stadium, got results. We've gone to St. James's Park with 10 men and got results. We've got results everywhere we go, but there's one place that usually eludes us when we're trying to get a result, and that is the Etihad. But that is where we've got to go on Saturday. And if we win that game, it stops being a transition season and it becomes a title challenging season, in my opinion. Drift.
Yo.
Talk to me, sir.
Well, the reason I look like this is because we need to run up in the Etihad. And then man need to not know where I'm going, and then we need to just escape with the goods, bro. So I'm coming just appropriate. I'm coming just appropriate for the job, bro.
They got some real marksmen there, though, haven't they?
Yeah, bro. It's gonna be on some real like I don't know, Mission Impossible type shit. But
Ocean's 11. And even then,
A-Man said it right. No face, no case, bro. They won't know it's us. We just got to run up on them, take the points, and get out of there, bro.
And without trying to take any damage as well.
Yeah, bro. It is what it is, bro.
How you feeling about
I'm coming just for battle, bro. This is battle mode right here. You know what I'm saying?
How are you feeling going into this game?
Do you know what's crazy, bro? Yeah. There's like a weird. There's a weird feeling I have this season, yeah, that I didn't have prior to this season, and it's a sense of effort. Let's do it, innit? And I never used to feel like that. I always used to be extremely worried and apprehensive. And I'd let things bother me more. And that might return. But last season gave me a wake-up call. Last season made me realise, that... Yeah, it's getting hot under there. Jeez. Last season made me realise...
You see Drift like this, or she just...
Yeah, bro, it's getting hot under there. It's like flipping off. Last season made me realize not to take things for granted, as in like we're always just going to be in things, like in title races and in Champions Leagues and all that kind of stuff. But I think at the same time, it gave me a bit of a different feeling towards how upset I get about things, because as far as Liverpool goes, finishing outside the Champions League is a disastrous season. And we were getting embarrassed quite often last year. We were losing games. There's no way we should have been losing. So it's given me a little bit of a different feeling this season, where I'm kind of like, I still get the nerves and they still kick in and all that, but I've got more of a like, no, F it, let's just roll with this, innit? Let's have a bit more confidence. Let's have a little bit more optimism. Let's have a little bit more kind of good feeling, positive energy, rather than that negative, bad feeling. Because remember, at the beginning of the season, I think I was the one out of all of us that was more along the, I think we could win the league. And you lot was a bit like, via DM Drift, you're being a madman. I was like, no, I think we
not
kind of
just the
can.
beginning of the league, Drifty. I love you, my brother, but I still feel like that. I still think you're wild for saying that.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm kind of like, nah, you know what? If luck's on our side, plus injuries, and you never know. Like, I still think we could roll through with the DMs that we have and still possibly cause an upset in here. So I know we could get moved to differently at the Etihad. We really could. But there's also a part of me that's like, what's the worst that can happen? Can we just move to these, man, innit? Like I said, like, let's do this, bro. Let's do this,
Oh,
bro.
you said those words. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, man. I mean, there's a lot of bad that can happen, Drift. I'm not gonna lie. There is a lot of bad that can happen. Where do you think?
I apologize, people. I apologize.
Where do you think we are vulnerable?
I'd probably say against Doku / Grealish, even though Doku way more than Grealish, we've got to worry about the space being exploited when we invert and Trent is out of position. Especially that's this season, it seems to be the key area for City. Seasons gone past, it was more Mahrez, innit? But now it really seems like they do go down the left side, meaning, oh shit, they're not just going to be doing it as a tactical thing. It's actually what they're good at now. Do you get what I mean? Like that is actually their best side of the field. And that kind of makes me a little bit worried, because Ake and Doku, or Ake and Grealish, it is, or now obviously Garvadal, it's very solid down their left side. Do you get what I mean? They've got a good defensive and attacking structure. It's pretty well balanced. And that is our weaker point, if that makes sense, of obviously the right back with Trent and whatnot. So I'll probably say that. And I know you're going to say the DM thing, and it is, but I thought I'd leave that one for you. So I'm going to say, yeah, right back.
I'll get to the DMs thing, and I don't even want to single or pinpoint this person, and he might not even play. We'll get to predicted 11s in a bit. I think everyone is super focused on Doku or Grealish versus Trent, and rightly so. Foden on the right hand side against Tsimikas. I think everyone's forgetting that Tsimikas hasn't been in good form this season.
But the last game he played for Liverpool was his best game, so let's hope he continues, bro.
No, I hear you, but if I'm not mistaken, the last game Foden played, he was very good as well. So it's like that. I think people sleep. I mean, people sleep on Foden. I think Foden could give Tsimikas a really tough time. But yeah, that midfield, man. If De Bruyne is playing, it would be a madness. The fact that he's not playing gives me some hope.
Here's the thing then, yeah. Are we in a scenario right now where, even though they are a better team than us overall, right? You look at results that have happened this season in general, not even just for Man City. It has been a mad year so far. Like, it kind of has.
At the Etihad and at Anfield, it hasn't been.
No, that's true. That's true. But what it showed me, though, is that there's still that little bit of a you know what? It can be, if you're just up for it, you can win. I think this season more than any has kind of had that feeling, whether it be Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, whichever big hitter team it is. It's like if the smaller team is just on it, they can cause an upset on that day because it just feels like that kind of season. I'm going into this feeling that way, bro. Etihad or not, City being a better team than us or not, I just think it's about the application and how we go into that game. I think if we go hell for leather, all in, all of our effort, we turn up and we're the Liverpool we know we can be. I think City would have just as much, if not more, to worry about with us because of our firepower, and therefore we can get something out of this. But that's the caveat. If we are on it, if we bring our main Liverpool, do you know what I mean, A game or whatever. If not, or we have a bad day, then yeah, we're gonna get cooked. But if we're on it, if Jota's on it, if Nunes is on it, if Mo's having his day, if Trent's in his bag, Van Dijk and Alisson doing Alisson and Van Dijk things, Soberslai back off of these
I'll be honest,
brilliant performances for Hungary.
I don't want to have to see Alisson dip into his bag. If he dips into his bag, it means we're getting peppered.
Well, the way we play, he dips into his bag against Bournemouth and Brentford, so he's going to be in his bag against City.
That right there, Drifty, is my worry. You just said he's had to be in his bag against Bournemouth. We're going up against the best team in the league now.
I know, but the point is the way we play, he's always going to be in his bag because it's the way we play. So let's just hope, Soberslide back off this international Brit masterclass with his country. Like, we got a couple things that could go for us, bro. Like, if them men are in their bag, maybe City, you got to worry about us, So I think this one does work both ways. I think City are the better team, but I think City deep down, if they admitted it, would be just as worried about us coming to town as we are going to town. Do you get what I mean?
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
we're the only team, in my opinion, in the league that can go there and win. And I say that with respect to Arsenal. I don't see Arsenal going to the Etihad and getting any points. I think we're the only team, and obviously freak results can happen, but I think we're the only team that City look at and go, we might not win this one. We could lose this one. Whereas the others, I think they go into it saying, yeah, we'll win this. It's Etihad.
That might be their Klopp PTSD, isn't it? Because obviously he's the only one who's been able to unlock the thing, relatively been the only one for the last 5 years or whatever it's been.
So let me ask you a question. I'll flip the question, Drift. Spoken about where our potential vulnerabilities are. Where's Manchester City's vulnerabilities?
Well, funny enough, I said their left side is strong. I'd probably say Guardiola in the last game or two looked a little bit like, oh, can you get at him? Like, is this a Chelsea showed like, oh, hold on a minute. It could have been an off day. It could have been an off day because he's been really good for them this season, especially in his debut season. But you're like, oh, and you saw Diaz kind of flying around in the Chelsea game, and you're like, is he getting a little bit anxious? Maybe a bit. Like, why is Diaz like going to ground a lot? It looked like he was doing a Persil advert against Chelsea. Like, man was trying to get those grass stains in so he could get the stains out, bruv. Like, it was mad. So I'm like, could there be a little bit of a crack showing there? Maybe just maybe playing 4 centre backs is slowly creeping up on them a little bit, maybe, or 3 centre backs if Carl Walker's playing, But and then again, I might be clutching because it could have just been a complete one-off game, and it is what it is. But I saw a tiny little bit of a crack in their defense there, and we know our attack is better than Chelsea. So I'm thinking, if Chelsea's attack can cause that kind of confusion, surely ours can.
Completely agree.
You know what I mean? And then is Haaland going to start? That's the other weakness. Is this fake and is this a put on, or does he have a bad ankle?
You don't believe, but Pep's
I
the
don't.
villain, bro.
I agree. Yeah, I do think it probably is a what do you call it, a facade or whatever. But if it's true, Haaland with a bad ankle playing or Haaland not playing could also become a weakness, because Alvarez is a bad boy. I really like Alvarez, you know that, but he's not Haaland, isn't it? Here's the crazy thing, Carl. The way we play and the way we're susceptible to certain patterns and styles of play. You'd probably say an Ollie Watkins, Alvarez, quick in behind type of striker is probably more of a nuisance to us than a big, brutish, strong, likes the physical side striker. Do you get what I mean?
Haaland's got pace for days as well, you know.
He does, but Haaland still prefers to more be involved in the physical battle rather than he does the little I'll just hide and then make the runs kind of thing. That's not really his game.
It's not, but he will do that against us because he knows if there's any two defenders in the league that can match him for physicality, it is Virgil and Ibu. So I don't think he's going to play. If he does play that game, I hope he does because he plays right into
Well,
our
he
hands.
played it against Arsenal, bro, and Saliba had him on lock.
Yeah, I mean, it was once when they ran into each other in the.
No, I'm not saying he batted him up, but Haaland came out of that worse that game. He came out of that game.
Of course. I would say though, if there are two centre backs that I trust to do with the physicality side of Haaland, Virgil and Ibu. If there's two centre backs I trust to deal with his movement and his intelligence, it's Virgil and Matip. Like I do think we have the centre backs capable of dealing with Haaland. I absolutely do. I have full faith in our centre backs to deal with Haaland.
And that's why I'm saying, would Alvarez not be more of a problem to us then, brother, if it was Alvarez who played?
Maybe.
The name Haaland puts the fear in you, but if you think about it like logically, would Alvarez maybe not be a bigger problem for us than Haaland would?
Yeah, probably because Alvarez would pick up pockets of space like a false nine almost, where we don't have a DM or a natural DM that would potentially hurt us. But there's no way Pep's going into this game and not starting Haaland. He's crazy to do that. But just going on their vulnerabilities and weaknesses, Drift. I do agree down their left-hand side. I think we can get at them. Again, you know, I'm not going to make no bones about it. You know how much I rate Gvardiol and Ake, but they're not naturally left backs. And if there's one person in the world of football who can like destroy whether you're a left back or a centre back playing left back, it is Mohamed Salah. So I've got full faith there. Another thing where I think there's vulnerabilities is because there is no John Stones to partner Rodri. I think as great as Rodri is, I think you get in and around him, you can rattle him. And if you rattle Rodri, you rattle Man City. But that will require us to potentially use a different formation, different tactics, or be extremely brave in our approach. And if that is the case, my team selection might shock a few people.
Well, you know how you rattle Rodri? You get Soberslide to just be all day around him. Just all day, bro.
Rifty! 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, you've just got to have Soberslide around Rodri the whole time, occupying him, like getting on his nerves, running off him, just constant nuisance. And we know he's got the energy for it as well, obviously. Just have Soberslide just causing him a nuisance all game. And then he'll be preoccupied with Soberslide and other people can make runs off of him, or he might not track something, or yeah.
All right. If you haven't already, guys, smash that like button. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to put out a team sheet that I would like us to play. Yeah. But then I'd like you to do the same. And then I want us to put a team sheet out that we think is going to play. All right.
Oh, so we'll do both then. All
right. So obviously, Ali and Virgil, I'm going to switch to a 4-2-3-1 because that's what I'd like us to play. I'm going to write the names in and I'll explain as it happens.
Have you seen people are ready to cut you for the DM situation already? I don't know if you've seen it, but
yeah, and I'm on a different page, so I'm not. I know I typed in a word just then, and it's a madness. So, I don't
the comments are going mad, bro.
Yeah. I know it's crazy. I know it is. But I want people to hear me out. Oh, definitely not Trent centre back. That was a typo. I'm going to explain why I'm doing this.
Everyone's asking, is it AI or you, Cap?
No, this one. This is me. Big up Imran. This is me. This is me. All right. I'm going to fully explain my lineup and why I've used these tactics. So we can all agree that the biggest threat from a defensive standpoint is down our right-hand side, right? Therefore, I've decided to play Joey Gomez there. And the reason I've not put Trent there, because if we play Trent there, that means Salah's going to have to play deeper to protect Trent. And also, Szoboszlai, if he's playing in the 4-4-3, is also going to have to play deeper. And I think those three players are our most creative and dangerous players. Therefore, with Joey there, I think it gives us more protection, allows us to be a bit more brave in possession and out of possession, and potentially force their players back as well. I've gone with Matip ahead of Ibu because I think Matip's intelligence, passing out from the back, and overall calmness will help us as opposed to Ibu's brute physicality and strength, because sometimes Ibu can be rash in the challenge. I've also gone with Tsimikas because I think he allows us to keep some width and also allows us to have that first time cross or crossing into the box, which could help us in terms of freeing up. In midfield, I've gone with Endo because I believe, and I might be wrong, but I think he's our best natural number 6 that's available. If you partner him with Trent, I think you can have it where Endo is solely responsible for trying to break up play and win the ball back, and Trent is the person who can literally pass it to Trent, and Trent can go and create from deep and supply the rest of the forwards with the ball. Luis Diaz versus Walker for me is a battle that we need to see, because Luis Diaz is the most tricky winger we have, and I think he's the one that can give Walker the most trouble. So Szoboszlai in the 10, echoing what you said, Drift, allows him to stick on Rodri, but also allows him to be close to the goal where I think he can cause the most havoc. Mo Salah on the right-hand side is just an obvious one. He is the best right winger in world football. And the reason I've gone with Diogo Jota over Nunes is because, if I'm not mistaken, Nunes played more minutes than Jota did in the internationals, also was in South America. Jota's been in good form. And if we are in the game or we need another goal to just shore off the game, City will have to push up higher up the pitch, especially with them being at home and the impetus being on them. Leaving space in behind after the 70th minute with Nunes, who's fresh, coming off the bench, will cause havoc. And I think that is potentially how we could win it. Drifty, you may not agree with me, but do you see where I'm coming from with what I'm saying?
I do. So I would keep the back four the same as you. I do agree with that. And I think the main reason why I do that is because I really enjoy the idea of having Trent as a half an hour to go weapon if we're chasing the game, to come off the bench and be completely different and maybe give them something they haven't had to think about during the game. But I like the first hour of the game being defensively more solid, which is what Joey will bring. So I agree with you on that. I would probably play a fully fit Ibu over Matip in this game, but I'm completely fine with it being Matip. In midfield now, this is where it'd be a bit mad. I would probably stick to the 4-3-3. Okay. And I would have the 2 advanced 8s rather than Szoboszlai being the 10 and then the pivot. I would have the pivot as... See, here's the thing. You're going to think I'm being even more crazy when I say
I know what you're going to say. You're going to say Jones and Trent.
Nah, bruv. I'm actually thinking go a bit more defensively solid than we normally do, because it is away to Man City. And I'm kind of maybe thinking you might be right with the keeping it as a pivot rather than the 8. And I'm thinking maybe Szoboszlai is not so much of a 10, because I think you're thinking Szoboszlai to be a bit more attacking 10, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I'd probably want him to still be more of an 8. But the pivot, I'm thinking maybe Endo and McAllister in the pivot to try and get a little bit more defensive solidity in there.
Wait,
and
one sec.
Yeah.
So does that mean Trent is on the bench for you then?
Yes. Trent's coming off the bench with half an hour to go if we're chasing a goal. That's how I'm feeling, because you've got to go into the City game being a little bit more tactical. And even though he's one of our best players, for this game, it might be better to be a bit more defensive minded and have him as a weapon.
Hold on. So you've got so Szoboszlai stays where he is, McAllister and Endo stay where they are, yeah?
But I would probably have Szoboszlai a little bit deeper than how advanced you have him. So it'd still be a bit more of an 8 rather than a 10. To just have a really solid base in the middle. Do you get what I mean? To stop anything from
What about your forwards?
And then my forwards would be the same as yours, other than I would start Nunes. I think the chaos of Nunes needs to be in from the beginning of the game, because you don't want to be chasing the game. You want to be in the lead. And Jota is also really good at coming off the bench and making an impact if need be as well. But I just think Nunes' chaos for an hour needs to be from the beginning of the game rather than like the last 20 minutes, half an hour. I think they need to be worried about his movement. And I think he's the one that could have maybe a Diaz flying and sliding all over the place and all that kind of stuff, because he might be, a bit rattled from the physical battle. So that's what I would. And the pace as well. I think Nunes' pace frightens everybody. So do that, and then I've got Jota on the bench, who is more than brilliant at coming off the bench with half an hour to go. I mean, I even see the argument to starting Jota left wing and having Diaz on the bench, because Jota's done well coming off the left in the last few games. Like there is even an argument to even do that and have Diaz as the impact player off the bench. But I like the idea of Diaz trying to cook up the winger.
Trent not starting's thrown me, I'm not gonna lie. I understand. No, here's the thing. I understand why you've done it, but it's thrown me. Because I thought you were gonna go Jones and Trent.
What people thought of my decision to put Trent on the bench. I wasn't paying attention, so I'm not sure if people agreed or not. But yeah, that's how I would go.
I wouldn't start Jota on the left for this game.
Making those late runs and popping up at the back post.
Yeah. So who's crossing the ball then, Drift? If there's no Trent,
Mo, innit? Mo loves to do those beautiful little cross-field crosses
to the back post.
Yeah. Mo's good at that, bro.
He rarely does it to the back. It's not like he picks out someone at the back post. He doesn't really do that.
No, he floats it into the area and then Jota can attack it. And what will be cool about that is everybody will be watching the run of Nunes, because we all know that their link up is beautiful now as well. And then he can disguise the pass and then flip it to the back post where Jota will be running in. There's an argument to say Jota playing left wing could be a good decision for this game,
I think I just want someone to go toe to toe with Walker to occupy him. If you can occupy Walker and get change out of him, I think you weaken Man City's defense and you can really get at them. Like Diaz is good, Gvardiol obviously, Ake, they're all great. But I think if you rattle Walker, I think you rattle the rest of their defense.
The thing is, even though I understand what you're saying,
sorry to cut you, Drift. Look how much success Sterling was having against Walker.
Okay, so that is true. But I think you rattle Walker with movement more than skill and pace, because I think he's built for the skill and pace.
Sterling did it. And if Sterling can do it at this stage of his career, Luis Diaz absolutely can.
The funny thing is, though, as much as I don't think that Sterling is as good as other people, I'd probably say pace is one of the things he's still got. Like, I'd probably say he's still as quick as he was maybe 3-4 years ago. And Sterling at his quickest is probably a bit quicker than Diaz, isn't it?
Not that much, though.
Well, enough to maybe be able to rattle Walker more than Diaz would, if you get what I mean.
I'd say Diaz is a better dribbler.
Yeah, without doubt. And he's more skillful. But we're just talking raw, penetrative pace. I'll probably go Sterling, innit? Like, just like...
Tahir's right. Tariq, sorry. He didn't outpace him. There's no one outpaces Walker, let's be real. Unless you're Ousmane Dembele in your prime, you don't outpace Walker. But he did have him on toast, bro. he had him on toast. And
I
I
mean,
know Walker's not used to it. Who really goes up against Walker and goes, yeah, I'm going to try and dribble him. I'm going to try and really bamboozle. No one does it. So he's always comfortable because the most that's going to happen is someone's going to see Walker. They're going to look up and pass it back. I want Diaz to test him.
no, I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm just saying like historically, you don't get at Walker with pace and skill. You get at Walker with clever movement, and that's Jota all day. That clever movement off the left side, like, do you know what I mean? That's how. And in the air, we all know Jota's easily better than Walker in the air. Like, we're talking back post in the air duels, Jota's winning that. Do you know what I mean? So whereas Diaz, even though he's good in the air, he's not as good as Jota. So even that part, bro, like if you like start putting the ball in the air, Jota's winning them back post headers against Walker. Do you know what I mean? More often than not, anyway. So I just see the argument for Jota. I can understand anybody who would go with Jota off the left.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So we've done what we would do, but we're not the manager. And honestly, thank God neither of us are the manager, Drift, because we wouldn't last very long. Let's be real. But however, we do have Jurgen Klopp, someone, in my opinion, who Pep probably respects more than any other manager and may have fear for him more than any other manager.
Klopp's the only manager in world football who's got a better head-to-head record against Guardiola.
I don't know if he's still better.
I think he's better by one because I think he was 2 better off before last season. And we beat them and they beat us. Oh, no, yeah, we did beat them last season. I think he might be 1 or 2 better off.
They beat us twice last season.
Did they? Oh,
yeah, Carabao.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, so you're right. So he's 1 ahead then. Klopp must be 1 win ahead then.
So, we said what we would do. What do we think Klopp's going to do? Alisson obviously in goal. Who plays at right back?
Trent.
Okay. Who plays centre back next to Virgil?
Matip.
Who plays left back?
Gomez. You know what I'm saying, isn't it?
Yeah, narrow settings then, yeah. That means inverted, yeah. That means Matip drawn out wide against Doku or Grealish, yeah. Okay.
Oh, we inverted.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm telling you, we inverted.
Oh boy. All right. So is McAllister going to play the 6?
Yep.
Who's left centre midfield?
Jones.
Szoboszlai. We agree.
Yep. Right side Sobo.
I didn't even know you could move them. Okay.
There.
All right. Who starts left wing?
Jota.
And do we believe that Nunes is starting?
You know what's nuts, Cal?
I do want everyone to think about the logic I said with regards to it. Like, he played a lot of football on international duty and he's had a long trip. And this is an early game in the afternoon.
I don't know if you've ever heard Klopp talk about Cody, yeah? But he said Cody is the most intelligent 21, 22-year-old he's ever met in his life. He said, like, this kid is just on another level. When you want to win big games, intelligent footballers are very important. I would not put it past Klopp starting Gakpo up front in a false 9 because we're away at the Etihad, you know. I'm not saying he's going to, but I wouldn't put it past him.
You haven't answered the question, though, Drew. You ain't answered the question, big man. who's,
I mean,
who's he playing?
it's between Cody and Nunes. I'll go Nunes, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Cody. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
The problem if Cody doesn't start, we've seen Cody off the bench. It's not pretty.
He's definitely a start game player rather than an impact player. Yeah, I agree with it.
I'll also echo that for Diaz. I don't think it's that pretty when Diaz plays off the bench either.
His first season it was, so I don't know if that might have something to do with some other stuff or whatnot. Because he was very impactful off the bench in the first season, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't remember the last time he came off the bench though. How many? Other than when he was dealing with the stuff with his pups, when has he really come off the bench? I'm trying to think.
Can't
Because he normally starts Diaz, isn't it? He doesn't really ever feature off the bench, really. He does normally start. But
so I ask you then, let's say Klopp goes left wing with Diaz. Who starts, Jota or Nunes? And why?
out of the two of those, I probably think you'd go with Nunes for the pace on the counter attack and the chaos that he brings. I think that might just edge it. Although Jota's clinical, isn't it? So he might be like, we might not get many chances in this game. When we get them, I need my shotter in there.
This is why I keep on saying Jota to start and Nunes to come on and just put the nail in the coffin. I genuinely believe
we started by then, though.
No, but even if Newcastle, we were losing that when Nunes came off the bench.
And I know. But
he said, hold my shandy.
But because Man City are obviously a much better side than them, you might not be able to catch them as easy. Because remember, Newcastle was a bit naive in that game, bro. They kept playing a high line because they thought they got a man advantage and, whatever.
Nah,
we caught them out very stupidly. Guardiola ain't winning a game and playing a high line when he sees Nunes coming off the bench.
Bro, the line weren't that high when we played against Newcastle and he scored those 2 goals,
Nah, bro, it was. If you think about how far up they were when we won the ball back for the first goal, for example, that Nunes had bare space to run into, bro.
Bro, no, but that's because he was much faster. And I think it was Dan Burn playing centre back, wasn't it? But bro, like
he still had a lot of space for a team winning the game. I'd be livid if Liverpool played a 30-yard high line and were winning the game.
They weren't winning the game when he scored his second. They were drawing. But with the first one, remember, it bounced off the defender's back in it. So the defender was a bit disorientated. But I'll be honest with you, like, it wasn't that high of a line, Drift.
It kind of was, bro. It kind of was. For a team winning, it kind of was a high line.
High line for me is what we play and what City play sometimes and what Arsenal play sometimes. Newcastle weren't doing that. The only time Newcastle...
I reckon if you go back and see it, bro, it's higher than you think.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think if you go back, you'll realise it was higher than you think. Because remember, Nunes had a lot of...
But that's because but it made it look like he had bare space. Because remember, at first, we thought it might have been offside because remember, he roasted him like for pace. Like, remember, if Nunes gets a head start on you, it's done. Like, you're not catching him.
Yeah, I know.
So I think it looked a lot worse than it was because of how quick he is. I don't think he was that far. I don't think it was that high.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to see it back. But
I agree with you. Like, as much as Nunes has had a good season, if the ball were to drop to anyone, and Jota, if I'm not mistaken, has a pretty good record against City, if the ball was to drop to anyone out of our attackers, and we had one shot to score, I want it to be Jota it drops to. On
I
right
agree with
foot
that.
or left foot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So for me, that might be the hardest decision Klopp's got to make. Because Jota, you're right, it's the most clinical. But Nunes is probably the best at occupying the back line as well, which may give the others a bit more space. But I also believe at this current stage in his career, I think Jota's better with the ball at his feet and better at link up overall. It's a tough decision Klopp's got to make. It's a decision I'm happy he's got to make, but it's a very tough decision because you can go either way.
Yeah.
You could get criticized if it don't work either way. We could start Nunes and he could miss a chance, or he could miscontrol the ball and people are going to go, should have started Jota. Or he could start Jota. Jota could be non-existent, getting bullied up, and we'd go, could have started Nunes. I think Klopp's he's caught between a rock and a hard place with this one.
Yeah. I mean, you know what, bro? I'm just looking at it now, and I think it's like we're both right at the same time, because I think that can be said. So, as the ball was played through to Nunes for the first goal against Newcastle, they're 2.5 pitch markings up. So, you know, like you've got the marking that goes across that has the different colors, yeah?
Yeah.
They're like 2.5 up, and it's 4.5 to the halfway line. So they're like halfway between the 18-yard box and the halfway line. So it's like, I get what you mean, that it's not high, but it is high at the same. Like it's high enough to give Nunes all of that to run into, because we're still talking about Nunes has got a good 30-odd yards of space there to run into. So it still is quite a high line, if you get what I mean. So I think we're both right. It's like right in the middle kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think City would push up like that with a lead against us. I think they'd sit a bit deeper than that, bro, to be honest. But yeah,
Remains to be seen. So I'm going to read a couple super chats and then we're going to do score predictions. Shout out to Choki, who says it's giving me 17-18 quarterfinal vibes. We know how we performed in that one, so that would be fantastic. We could replicate that result. Panda Pancake says, I think Man City went to Chelsea thinking it was going to be easier than it was. I would rather play 4-2-3-1-2 instead of Endo. I'll rather Grav. I don't think Gravenberch is... I don't think his first thought is defense. And that would worry me next to someone else who hasn't got that instinct as well. If Grav played next to a defensive midfielder, I'd be fine with it.
Plus, he's coming back off an injury. Even though it was a minor injury, he's still like, you know.
Score predictions, Drift. Or, in fact, do you want me to go first? Because I don't think people are going to be happy with my score prediction.
Before you do that, 12:30. Have you seen what they said about why it's 12:30?
Because they don't want fans going to the pub later on in the day or something. There's less time to drink. That's the excuse they say. There's less time for fans to drink and get rowdy and actually have trouble.
Let me read it for you, actually. Here we go. Let me find it real quick. Give me 1 second. So I can just give you the real quote. Hold on. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. All right, so here's what they've said. They've said, oh, no, hold on. This ain't the one. Bear with me. Because I actually don't want to misquote this.
Let me just read out super while you find that, bro.
Yeah, go for it. Go.
Calm says, I think they'll catch us on counters. That's another thing. Yeah, we've got to be careful of that as well. We have to. We do like to play a high line ourselves, especially with Trent inverting. We've got to be super careful with that.
Hold on.
That Chelsea result as well could be a bit of a curse for us, because they're going to want revenge on someone, and they're going to want to prove that they still are the team to beat as well. H says Joey Costas Trent. I can't do with another strip fest. Big up H. AJ says big up Kopish. Kopish lineup 3-2. Klopp lineup 2-4.
Waste anyone's time, but it was somewhere. It was along the lines of like the game was asked to be pushed back, and Sky just felt that it was still the best time to put the game. Like it was literally Sky's
Is it
decision.
Sky or BT?
It's Sky, and it was literally their decision because the game was asked by the teams if it could be pushed back to the 5 o'clock game, but for some reason, they still felt that it should be the 12 o'clock game. So it's basically just Sky picking and choosing when they think a game should be, basically. So, which is really annoying because I've even heard the mainstream public pundits saying that they think it's really silly. The biggest game of the season is the first game. The biggest game of the weekend is the first game of the weekend.
No, you said it right the first time. The biggest game of the season so far.
Well, yeah, I guess technically you could say that as well. Yeah,
it's number 1 versus number 2, right? And these two have been the teams that have been going back and forth for the last 5 odd years. So,
yeah, and that's what's mad as well because I can see a few people saying the 12 o'clock game's normally TNT. You're right, but it's still coming up now saying that it's Sky. It's the 12:30 game on Sky. So yeah.
I would have banked on it being TNT. Mark and Steve says Jota for the 9. If one chance came in the game, who'd finish the game? I would put my money on Jota. But again, I want to be clear as well. We've also seen Jota miss some chances he shouldn't have missed this season as well. So we can't have that narrative like Nunes is the only one that misses chances. Jota's missed a fair few as well. I just would trust Jota more than I trust Nunes at the moment in front of goal.
The funny thing is, though, bro, it kind of depends the scenario because I do think Nunes loves that big game emotion, and maybe he would be in his bag because he'd have his eye on the ball and he wouldn't be so distracted. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't think we can downplay Nunes' ability to be a big. Like since he's been here, he's pretty much scored in all the big games.
So is Jota.
Yeah, but I'm just putting Nunes in that category rather than, like where we're like, if there's one chance you want it to fall to, it's like theoretically we think it's Jota, but in a big game like this, could be Nunes. Like it could be, and that's the good thing about our forwards. Because before the Newcastle game, people would have said Nunes isn't capable of that. Then he scores a brace like that, and people realise he is. Because most people would have said Jota is the one they would want. If you said, right, we're going to be playing Newcastle, it's going to be the 86th minute or whatever, and it's going to be a through ball from Salah, who do you want on the end of it? And I think we even did the scenario, and most of us were like, yeah, I want it to be Jota. Nunes proved. No, if he's in his bag, it could quite easily be him.
So here's the thing. I don't think Jota scores the first goal Nunes scores in that game against Newcastle. I think he scores the second. I don't think he scores the first.
The one that was more power.
Yeah.
Than it was.
No, power and accuracy. No, power and accuracy. Like the accuracy on the first one was crazy. Like that's the only place he could have put it where the keeper couldn't save it. Like the accuracy and pace on it was crazy. I don't think Jota scores that goal. I think he scores the second goal. But on the flip side, the goals against Toulouse, for example, I don't think Nunes scores those goals. I think Jota does all day.
Yeah, I mean, again, I guess it's one of them ones we have to see it happen. Plus, Nunes is coming off of some really great form.
Like, this is the thing. Like, if we start Nunes,
international team.
No, I hear it. This is what I'm saying. If he starts Nunes, like people can argue it should be Jota, but I don't think we can, as a fan base, go, that's a blunder. I'll be honest with you, not to sound harsh. If Gakpo starts, I would feel like that's a bit of a blunder. Because I don't think Gakpo's done anything this season or enough this season to suggest he should be starting ahead of Nunes or Jota as a number 9 for this game.
I hear
but
you.
If Jota starts or Nunes starts, I may not agree with one, or some fans may not agree with the other, but I could never sit and be like, Klopp's crazy for starting Nunes or Klopp's wrong for starting Nunes. For me, it's more preference thing. and I'm happy he's got that choice he can make. But
But
whoever starts has to perform.
I will say, in Gakpo's defense, we were just talking about finishes and who would do what. I think Gakpo could do that finish Nunes did in against Newcastle, the first one. I think Gakpo can do that finish.
I don't.
That drilling it bottom corner with accuracy. Gakpo is very capable of that.
I think from the left-hand side he could, not from the right.
I think either, bro. I think either.
That first Nunes, I think people sleep on hitting the ball across the goalkeeper. It's one of the hardest techniques. Harry Kane makes it look easy. That's one of the hardest techniques.
I think Gakpo's capable, bro. Gakpo's a really good finisher,
No, he is. I just don't know if he's capable of that finish.
Yeah, I think he is. I don't know if the people agree or not, but I think he could do that finish. He might have the pace to get away from the defender, but if we're just talking about the finish, I think Gakpo could hit that drilled across the ground, low bottom corner. I think Gakpo's got that in his locker still.
I might be completely wrong. I don't think he finished. The second one, I think he finishes. Like the second one, I think he finishes. Genuinely,
the second one was more finesse, isn't it?
I don't even think Salah finishes the first one on the left-hand side.
No,
if Salah's in that position, for me, Nunes is the only one out of that front. Well, saying that, Diaz did it against Spurs as well.
Yeah, there you go. So I think Gakpo could do that finish, bro. I do. I think Gakpo could do that finish.
12 man, but this is what I was saying. So the goal against Man United was from the opposite side. So he could open up his body and really get power into it. Like if you overcharge the power on that one, it could end up going corner flag. That's a very hard finish.
It was, man. It was.
Score predictions. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I've got to go back into ninja mode, yeah.
All right. So the lineup
we're coming for you.
So I know I'm going to get cooked for this, so I'm going to quickly say mine and move on. If Klopp goes with the lineup that we think he's going to go with, then I think we lose 4-2. If we go with one of the lineups that one of us had or something similar to that, I think we draw 2-2.
I'm going to agree with the second part you just said. Even though I came in here with chess, I'm not an idiot. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I agree with the second. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. And if I'm being honest with you, escaping the Etihad with a 2-2 draw is a good result.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I would. Honestly, I would. If somebody said to me right now, would you take a draw? 100%. And then you just got to try and make sure you can win the Anfield battle. But at the Etihad, especially looking at we've been quite poor there, I'm taking a 2-2. I would.
I'll take any draw. And I'm not.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Smoker. So
other than a 0-0, because I want to see a goal, but just a draw, innit?
Bro, I'll be honest, bro. If it's a sloppy 0-0, I'll take it, man.
I would take it, but it would be a little bit disappointing. You know what I mean? What we've got to do is we've got to do what Arsenal did, even though Arsenal was at home, obviously. Have absolutely no fear, and also take advantage of the fact that they're not quite at their best. Because everybody knows by next season, City will probably be back to their best. So you've got, bro.
Arsenal quite lucky in that game. They scored a deflected goal, and
they were lucky to get the win.
No, it's not even that. I think people forget in that game in the first half, Man City could have been 3-0 up if I'm not mistaken. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking a win away from Arsenal. They still went and won the game and looked good doing it. But like, I don't know, man. I think people sleep on City at Etihad sometimes.
Yeah. If Brentford can do it, we can, bro. That's how we have to look at it.
Very true. Well, people, I know you're going to cook me in the comments for my take on who should start and my score predictions. I just ask that you go easy. I'm just a human being. I just have my opinion. I would say I am a 50-50 type of guy. I get some wrong, I get some right. Just remember, I'm a human, and I'm sorry if I've offended anyone. We are going to be live for the game, but before that game, you will see us tomorrow night for the live call-in show. It's the last Friday of the month, so it's a call-in show. So please do join us for that. I haven't spoken to you guys in what feels like a long time, so it'd be nice to chop it up with you guys and speak to you. I got a shout out to to Anfield Uncle Rods. Shout out to Uncle Rods. Go and subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to Liverpool 12th Man's channel as well. Trying to remember if there's anyone else in the chat. Guna Lee. Shout out to Guna Lee. Go and subscribe to Guna Lee. And enough love to all of you guys in the comments who rock with us. Please do smash that like button. We're on the road to 35k, so we'd love to get there before the end of the year. That would be fantastic. Drift, have you got anything to say to the people before we say au revoir?
No, man, just big up like you were saying. I see John Conway, big up yourself. I know Sadiq's in the building. Imran. I don't like missing people out. So it's like you want to shout people out, but you don't want to forget anyone. But big up everyone. And man, let's just try and get this win, man. Let's just try and get this win. Again, people, if we get a draw, it really isn't a bad result. It is the Etihad. You draw at the Etihad, and it is not a bad result. Don't get me wrong. If you're 3-0 up with a minute to go, then it's a bad result. But you know what I mean.
Context.
Context. But
if we lose 3-0 and we get a 3-3 draw, we're all celebrating.
Then that's like a win. Yeah, that's like a win. So yeah, obviously, you gotta. But let's man. Darwin got a brace in the last game against Bolivia. He's cooking. You know what, bro? Yeah, I know. Obviously, we're trying to think. We'll talk about this another time. But you see, Man United, they don't know what they're doing with Pulistri. You know, Palestri, however you pronounce his name, bro.
They don't know what they're doing with anyone.
I don't know how we could ever swindle a Man U to Liverpool deal. But you see if Palestri was Salah's understudy, bro, I reckon our future would look bright. You know, I said, Man United don't know what they're doing with that kid. That kid's talented. That kid is extremely talented. And when you see him cooking it up for Uruguay, when you see that Uruguay team is actually really good, you know.
Yeah, it's a naughty
team. They have got a really good team, brother. And I like the balance they have and the players. And I mean, shout out to Valverde with the miss of the international weekend. But yeah, they don't know what they're doing with him. So I would love it if somehow Liverpool could get Palestri. Like he's got a bright future ahead of him, man. But other than that, everyone.
I'm hoping we get someone in the winter, but we will see, people. As I said, please subscribe if you're new to the channel. Do share it with friends and family, whether they're Liverpool fans or football fans, and hit that like button. We'll be back tomorrow night for the live calling show, and then back on Saturday afternoon for the live match watch along. People, thank you for rocking with us. Have a fantastic rest of the day or night, wherever you are. Until we see you tomorrow night, stay safe, stay blessed. With Kopish, and we're out. Take care.
Peace.